society, social media, and influences plays a part in the definition of what a weak man is?
I do, for better and for worse, I think.
Really? How
Yeah.
so?
I would say on the bad side of it, there's a lot of, things blasted at men, like, especially when you see some of these podcasters and YouTubers, they have a female panel and they'll talk about, oh, I don't want a man who makes less than six figures.
Right.
And I do think financial security is an important thing that a man should have. But at the same time, no one comes out financially secure. I think that's a process
It
that
takes work, right.
you have to go
Right.
through. So I don't think it's fair to call a guy weak because he's in that journey. I think if a guy is just perpetually doing the wrong things for
Right.
himself, that doesn't help his case. But I think social media, just throwing that money image out there, really kills it.
It really has almost a false measuring rod, but it holds everybody to it.
Yeah.
And it's not backed by anything.
Nope.
Nothing tangible of substantial. Have you had any experiences where you've seen a person you're around show weakness?
Yeah, I would say.
Give us an example. Give me an example of.
So I played a lot of sports, and soccer is my main sport. I just played a tournament this past weekend, played 10 games. And I would say the biggest times I've seen what the men that I thought were strong that were not actually strong, I
Right.
think those proving grounds, you really see it athletically, like in a competitive setting.
Right.
Because, I mean, they'll get mental pressure. I'm a goalkeeper in soccer, so everything rides.
Yeah.
It's
You're the bad guy.
Yeah. If I
Yeah.
let a goal in, even if it's not my fault, it's my fault.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, like, the fortitude to like get through that, push through, continue,
Tough
short
skin.
memory.
Right.
And you see it, like, guys, you see that on the field. They'll make a mistake. They're in their head. They're walking. They're slouching. Can't get over the hump.
Right.
Everything that happens to them, it's all woe is me. And I see that on the field. And then when you see it off the field, you see, like, I have people that I know, COVID hit, their career that they were in, the business they were in kind of just folded.
Right.
And instead of saying, you know what, let me kind of rebrand myself, let's push through it and let's find
Right.
something new, straight to unemployment, and just rode that for the years that they could, almost 2 years that they could. And there was no drive, no want to
Right.
get out there and do something different. It was, well, I can make it like this and making just as much as I was before. Why would I change?
Yeah.
That was an example for me.
Yeah, that's almost like a suicidal mentality. You're almost subjecting whatever your life, your business to die, or your business you're in to die because you will not adapt to your environment.
Exactly.
Are there any key characteristics you say that weakness in men present itself? Characteristics, let's say that a lot of the weak men that I've seen, the weakness men I've seen, they've all had these characteristics. Any kind of characteristics you could think of?
It's hard because it's not always consistent. If
Right.
anything, it's been like, I always thought that was a pretty model example of what manhood should be. And then a really hard situation hits, and
Yeah.
their reaction to it is not what you would have imagined. I guess one thing I would say is a common thread between them all is they're always like playing the victim, they're always defensive. It's never something that they did, even if it is exactly something that they did. It's always something else's fault.
They're not willing to take responsibility for their
Exactly.
actions.
Zero accountability for their own actions, no responsibility.
Okay, so what in society, what steps should we take to start debunking this or destroying or killing this or destroying the weak man or, destroying that perception and arming, producing more well-rounded or more strong men when it comes to society? What steps should we take? What actions would you like to see?
So it's tough because I feel like a lot of what is learned about strong manhood is
Right.
ingrained early, like as in the family.
Conditions been conditioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, my father is the model of manhood to me.
Right.
I mean, that's a guy who grew up in inner city Montgomery. From a set of parents who came from nothing. My grandparents were sharecroppers in Greenville, Alabama.
Oh, wow.
I
So
mean, And my grandfather built a bricklaying business and was a builder and made millions of dollars over his career
Yeah.
later. But I mean, while my dad was growing up, they were inner city Montgomery in
Right.
the 90s when the gangsters, disciples were taking over the city. And so my grandfather kind of instilled in my dad what it means to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, if you would.
Right.
And my dad has transferred that to us, and he's made sacrifices after sacrifices to make sure our family was secure.
Right.
But I mean, I wouldn't have had a guidepost if it wasn't for him, or it would have been difficult. I mean, and it's not to say if you don't have a father figure, you can't be a manly man.
Right.
But having a father figure and being present in the lives that you create does play a difference. And I think as we grow in that, and then just glorifying people who are actually being models,
Right.
not just the people who are out there living the flashy, fun lives. I think
Right.
a lot of the role models aren't actually role models; they're just famous.
And there's a difference. They're sensationalizing their popularity and not their effort in society.
Exactly.
So yeah, I agree with you on that. We do need father figures, or my word is positive male role models
Yeah,
in your
absolutely.
lives that can imprint on you on any aspect or anything that you're dealing with. I feel like we should have multiple positive male role models in our lives,
Absolutely.
no matter what it is, because there's a lot of ways to do it. And the more successful people are the people that have range, know how to deal with emotions, deal with certain things because they've seen 4 or 5 people do it, and they're able to choose their way of doing it, what works best for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Gergie, thank you so much for coming out. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with me. We're going to discuss your answers tomorrow with the ladies, and then in a couple of weeks we'll all get together and have a open conversation about this and kind of get some stuff squashed, debunk some ideas or some perceptions that are out there, and kind of change the narrative so that way we can locally start, inputting on these young kids so therefore they are not armed with these disabilities that make them, fit that potential of weak men.
Yeah,
All
looking
right.
forward to it.
All right, man. Once again, thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you rock with us again.